So one of the things you need to understand about me is I am a clinical social worker, which means I am a therapist in private practice here in St. Albert. So what that means is I really like to talk about the messy stuff. I talk about grief, I talk about loss, I talk about death and dying, all of the good things that everybody loves to talk about. My husband laughs at me all the time because he says, my day is not a good day unless I've made somebody cry. So I'm hoping not to do that to you today. But what I want to do is talk about how I have to find balance in my life. So one of the ways that I find balance in my life is finding inspiration. And so one of the things that I find inspiring is Kermit the Frog. Whee! So I think that the more I talk about Kermit, the more I find that he is the greatest philosopher of our time. And I find great comfort in the fact that I've known him since my childhood. So this is what my presentation is going to be about. Why do I love Kermit the Frog? Well, I love Kermit for several reasons. First of all, he's one of the most accepting animals I know. He loves to hang out with weirdos. He hangs out with chickens, bears, monsters, aliens, and anything basically that talks. All of those things are flawed, but he loves them anyway. We won't even start to talk about Miss Piggy because that relationship is all I can say. It's complicated. It's complicated. Okay. Kermit is the glue that keeps all of these crazies together. Without him, everything would be mayhem. Electric mayhem for all those people that are Kermit lovers as well. He has wisdom because he knows when to have a calm intervention, and he also knows when to just throw up his hands and join the crowd and join the party. He has a very broad definition of family. Basically, family to him is anyone who he was born with, but basically also all the hitchhikers that he catches along the way. I feel this kind of kinship with Kermit, and the reason being is that he too is what I call an extroverted introvert. He likes to be up on stage as much as I do. Yet, he also knows that no matter what's going on behind the curtain, he has to get on with the show. This is Kermit naked, of course. This is the core of who Kermit is. He is a projection of the puppeteer, but he is also a projection of his audience. He reminds me a little bit of a Schrodinger's cat. He's real and not real, all at the same time. You're supposed to laugh at that, by the way. Okay, he is a reflection of Jim Henson himself and all the good things that Jim was and all the inspiring things that man was. But he also isn't, because Jim was flawed. Kermit, of course, is not. Kermit outlived his creator, which is what we all hope to do. He has no idea he is a puppet, and nor do I think he really cares. He is deeply connected to his roots. So when we talk about sustainability, I think Kermit is one of the first people who would talk about that. He often finds sadness in the amount of leadership he has to deal with. And so he has to find ways to help motivate and help center himself. So he does that by going back to the swamp. He reconnects with nature, and I think that's something that we all need to do. He reflects on the big things and the little things. He often finds himself reflecting on his own greenness. So here's your quote for the day. But green is the color of the spring, and green can be cool and friendly-like. And green can be big like the mountain, or important like a river, or tall like a tree. So what Kermit knows is that there is extraordinary in all of the ordinary things, and that's what I find in the work I do too. Most of all, what I really enjoy about Kermit is how he connects me back to my own creativity and my own playfulness, which is sometimes really needed in the line of work I do. This piñata took me about 2 days to make, and that's a lot of wool, I gotta tell you. I didn't prepare myself for how a piñata naturally meets its end, so I was very upset when I had to watch my children bash Kermit repeatedly in the head. So that was, unfortunately, it was kind of traumatizing. But what I did think is that I spent a lot of time trying to get inside of Kermit's head. And really, what this opportunity did for me was actually let me get inside his head. So again, that's the playfulness that Kermit allows me to reconnect with. I love the idea of how he helps me reconnect with my childhood. And so I felt like I should help you understand where my childhood came from. And so this is a picture of me and my children, my siblings. You'll notice that I'm the one in the middle, although that is very difficult to tell given that my brothers and I all have the same haircut. And we are also all wearing the same pants. So if you have any comments or questions about that, my mother is in the back. You can bring that up with her later and talk about my torturing life. Anyway, what I love about Kermit is he's also a conduit between generations. He helps me connect with my kids, right? They love that I love Kermit the Frog, and they take every opportunity to help remind me about how Kermit is, or what Kermit's doing, and how we can reconnect about those things. Kermit is a dreamer. He's not about the plot. It's not about the end of the story. It's always about the road trip and how many crazies you can get in the car at the same time. It's not about good versus evil, because in any of the situations where Kermit is in, the bad guy isn't really bad. He's usually just misunderstood and sometimes misled. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't have us talk about Kermit the Frog and I didn't talk about rainbows. So what does the rainbow connection mean to me? Well, it means several things. It means the ability to connect with others. So I think what we've experienced here tonight is, to me, what the rainbow connection really is. It's about being part of a whole, being greater than ourselves, and as to quote my favorite amphibian, we have done just what we planned to do, thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you. So that's all I've got for you tonight.